One summer, I flew out to Maui to visit some friends. I was so excited to cruise around to several of my favorite places on the island. I also got to visit with friends and catch up with them after 2 years of being gone and living on the mainland. Then this guy called me and wanted to hang out, so we went shopping and we tried on a few things.
And we went for a motorcycle ride and ended up in Lahaina.
Then he had this great idea to go camping out in Hana for the weekend. Little did I know that there had been hurricane warnings broadcasted all over the islands for the next several days.
Good idea, huh? Do you think that would be enough to stop me?
So off we went. Our first stop was here to view these colorful beauties.
And to take a few pics. Then we were off again just a little further down the road.
I knew Ryan was pretty athletic, but it was here that I got an up-close and personal experience with the part monkey man he actually was. Then we were on the road again. We got to view waterfall after waterfall.
Yeah, that never got old. Because of all the rain, they were really going off. We finally pulled off and went down a very muddy, slick, and tight road.
Stopping along the way, of course, for every great shot.
It was quite the trek, even for my Toyota Tanya. It was also a great opportunity to really test the 4x4 and get her feet wet.
We finally came to this clearing that we later affectionately began calling Lover's Cove.
Hint, hint.
It was time to go exploring.
There was a little rain, but it wasn't too bad.
And then it was. You know that question people ask? If you were on a deserted island, what one item would you want? The red umbrella flashes through my mind. Thank goodness for that little red umbrella. It kind of became quite the iconic item for us after that weekend. So much so that a year or so later, while I was walking around an art gallery on island, I stopped and admired an art piece, I think done by Scott Cleek. He features a red umbrella in many of his pieces, and I instantly fell in love with his work. You should check it out. Nonetheless, we were really thankful for that little red umbrella, for more than one reason.
Best 99 cents I ever paid.
It was time to go exploring. Ah, the classic Ryan stance. And then it was time to play karate with the ocean.
Oh boy.
And of course, Ryan had to start showing off.
Look what I can do. Then it was time to climb.
I had always prayed for a man that could keep up with me, and God went way above and beyond that request, and I found it really hard to keep up with him. He made everything look so easy.
I got sweet ocean karate kicking skills, free climbing skills. What can I say?
Monkey Man Nelson. If he could do it, so could I. I've done some rock climbing before. It was my turn. But sandy bare feet and slippery wet rocks proved to be more to manage than I had expected. I got stuck at one point and didn't know where to go from there. But more about that later. We're just driving in a pond.
It's a river or a creek.
A river / creek. Point is that it's water. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes, Ryan. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yep, we just drove through that.
Fun. I need a snorkel.
See all of our belongings under that tarp? Yeah, they still got wet.
The next morning, we were on the road again, ready to explore more of Hana. In a later video, we'll show you our own jumps off bunny ears. It was here in these caves that Ryan held my hand for the first time.
Aww.
And I also got to pose like and pretend to be a mermaid.
And I got to play the photographer.
It was on this trip that I began noticing little hearts all over the place out in nature. Was that a hint or something?
What the mind thinks, the eye finds.
We hiked down to this beach to see some of the most gorgeous blue water I'd ever seen. I can't get over the beauty of the contrast between that red sand and that blue water.
Yeah, the camera just doesn't do it justice. The water was pretty rough.
And it began to rain pretty hard again.
We didn't have our little red umbrella with us this time, but we did find a lava shelter to sit under.
More hints for us and what was to come, perhaps? Sadly, it became time for us to make our way out of Hana and back home.
We headed around Campout side. And made a friend.
We named him Herbert, and he was on a long journey. We were getting hungry, so Rai grabbed the coconuts he found, husked them, opened them, and cut out the meat in a matter of minutes. We tried deep-fried coconut. And then we tried honey-glazed coconut. Oh, yum.
Gotta love a man that can cook.
Heavy rain and nightfall brought this party inside. And it even got better than all that. Rai perfected the best tasting heated burrito. You know how good food tastes when you're cold and camping?
And yeah, hungry.
We finished our meal with dessert, hot cocoa, and coincidentally, some heart-shaped cookies that I'd baked.
Yeah, coincidentally.
Overall, it was an amazing, adventurous weekend that became the reason that our hearts began to go pitter-patter for one another.
Literally, pitter-patter. You know, rain.
How was that trip?
That was pretty amazing.
It was epic, to say the least.
I don't know that I would do it again. I mean, in this way.
The hurricane turned into just a tropical storm, but it was a very wet weekend.
Notice we haven't done it ever again.
I don't think I've ever been more wet and more cold feeling consecutively. 3 days straight.
And she had the warm blankets that were dry.
Oh my gosh, remember how you...
Oh, I remember.
Like,
I stayed
what did
up.
you do? You torched.
You were
Heat torched my sleeping bag.
Cold.
From being drenched.
Already.
Totally dried it, heated it up for me. I snuggled in, and I was going to keep him company while then he worked on his sleeping bag, but I was out.
She
was out, and then he gave up on doing it for him.
It took too long. I took all my energy out on getting hers dried.
And he slept in a really cold, wet sleeping bag while the rain from the tarp dripped in on you. All night.
It didn't so much drip on me per se. I already had wet sleeping bags, but all I remember is just not being able to fall completely asleep. But when I thought that I was about to get some lick of sleep, I felt this cold pressure on my face. And
I slept like a baby.
What is this? I woke up. It's the tarp that is filled with water and is now sagging to my face. I had to push it up. Every 15 minutes, it would just dump out the side.
I slept so peacefully. I was warm, snug as a bug in a rug.
I'm glad. That's all that counts.
You worked really hard.
Yep.
I thank you for that.
Sure.
I felt bad.
No problem.
So there were some really awesome things about this trip that we wanted to talk about and bring a spiritual emphasis to. So the part in the slideshow where I'm rock climbing and I'm stuck. At this point, I can't go up. I can't find any good solid handholds. Everything's really slippery. The rocks are all wet. My feet are sandy. I'm just like, anything I try to do, I feel like I'm going to fall. And I can't go down. I've been clinging to this rock, trying to figure out where I'm going to go for so long that like now I'm starting to just shake. And so I said to Ryan, I am going to fall. I can't hold on much longer, and I can't go up or down.
You're like,
and I don't know where you were at that point, but at one point, like
right
when I
you.
said that, he's like right underneath me. I was like,
already under there.
you need to move. Move, please. Like, I'm going to fall.
And of course, I'm not going to let you fall.
If I fall, I'm going to fall right on top of you and take you out and hurt you too. And he would not move.
And really inside of my head, I was like, yeah, I should probably move. But I was like, you know what? I shouldn't.
So that part in our trip really reminded me about what Hebrews 13:5 says. When God promises to us, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And I could not shake Ryan. I could not get him to move. And because I didn't want to fall on him and hurt him as well, that was enough to help me to continue holding on, find the strength to hold on. And then he talked me through getting down. But I just love the protection that Ryan provided me throughout that whole trip, but especially in that moment too. It was an instance where my eyes were really open to you really taking seriously your responsibility as a protector. And
Hey, look at this. You still haven't gotten rid of me. Still not moving.
we have a God too that's unwilling to
Immovable.
leave or forsake us.
Immovable.
Even when we tell him to, even when we walk away or even when we try to push him away, he's still right there just waiting for us to accept his presence and to
And take his hand.
yeah. So that was a really cool spiritual lesson that I took away from our epic trip during a hurricane. So what stuck out about the trip for you?
I think the red umbrella was, and the truck, and just the whole experience that we had with the storm. I really felt that it was much like God's protection, I guess, for us. That it reminds me of Isaiah 43:2. It says, when you go through the waters, I'll be with you. And when you go through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. But as far as the waters go, like when I was driving through, it was a little bit of a scary experience to not know how deep the water gets. So I just kind of had that like, oh, well, here we go, we're going for it.
It looked like it was going to come in through the doors. We were
for
that
me
deep.
too, and that was
It was already everywhere else. We did not need it inside the truck.
exactly. So yeah, that's what it reminded me of. There were times when there was a thought went through my head like, what if this storm gets bad enough to push my truck over or like, roll us? They were already 55-mile-an-hour winds, so, and it hadn't even hit yet, like fully. So there was a little bit of thought going on there. I was with somebody that wasn't scared or fretful, so that helped out too. It was overall just a really, what most people would tuck away and hide and be indoors, we were out and there was blessing to just be the only ones out without having somebody going, hey brah, get off the water, or something like that.
Yeah, trip was epic. We thank Jesus for keeping us safe many different instances throughout the trip and for just allowing us to enjoy a nice time together and really get to know one another. And it was the beginning of our little flutters for each other. So that concludes episode 1. We hope you enjoyed. Tune in to episode 2, soon to come out, and find out why I didn't hear from this guy for 5 months.
Wait.
After that trip.
I have to explain that?
5 months.
I've never had to explain it before.
Phone call. Tune in, episode 2, Maui'dVenture. Our adventures, God's goodness. Aloha.
I really... No, it's not time to be pet right now.
Just go with it.
Okay.